The Ideal of a Universal Religion, Part 4. So far, it is all right theoretically. But is there any way of practically working out this harmony in religions? We find that this recognition that all the various views of religion are true has been very, very old. Hundreds of attempts have been made in India, in Alexandria, in Europe, in China, in Japan, in Tibet, and lastly in America to formulate a harmonious religious creed to make all religions come together in love. They have all failed because they did not adopt any practical plan. Many have admitted that all the religions of the world are right, but they show no practical way of bringing them together so as to enable each of them to maintain its own individuality in the conflux. That plan alone is practical, which does not destroy the individuality of any man in religion and at the same time shows him a point of union with all others. But so far, all the plans of religious harmony that have been tried while proposing to take it in all the various views of religion have in practice tried to bind them all down to a few doctrines, and so have produced more new sections fighting, struggling, and pushing against each other. I have also my little plan. I do not know whether it will work or not, and I want to present it to you for discussion. What is my plan? In the first place, I would ask mankind to recognize this maxim, do not destroy. Iconoclastic reformers do no good to the world. Break not, pull not anything down, but build. Help if you can. If you cannot, fold your hands and stand by and see things go on. Do not injure. If you cannot, render help. Say not a word against any man's convictions so far as they are sincere. Secondly, take man where he stands, and from there give him a lift. If it be true that God is the center of all religions and that each of us is moving towards him along one of these radii, it is then certain that all of them must reach that center. And at the center where all the radii meet, all our differences will cease. But until we reach there, differences there must be. All these radii converge to the same center. One, according to this, his nature, travels along one of these lines and another along another. And if we all push onwards along our own lines, we shall surely come to the center because all roads lead to Rome. Each of us is naturally growing and developing according to his own nature. Each will, in time, come to know the highest truth, for after all, men must teach themselves. What can you and I do? Do you think you can teach even a child? You cannot. The child teaches himself. Your duty is to afford opportunities and to remove obstacles. A plant grows. Do you make the plant grow? Your duty is to put a hedge round it and see that no animal eats up the plant. And there your duty ends. The plant grows of itself, so it is in regard to the spiritual growth of every man. None can teach you, none can make a spiritual man of you. You have to teach yourself, your growth must come from inside. What can an external teacher do? He can remove the obstructions a little, and there his duty ends. Therefore, help if you can, but do not destroy. Give up all ideas that you can make men spiritual. It is impossible. There is no other teacher to you than your own soul. Recognize this. What comes of it? In society, we see so many different natures. There are thousands and thousands of variety of minds and inclinations. A thorough generalization of them is impossible, but for our practical purpose, it is sufficient to have them characterized into four classes. First, there is an active man, the worker. He wants to work, and there is tremendous energy in his muscles and his nerves. His aim is to work, to build hospitals, to do charitable deeds, make streets, to plan and to organize. Then there is the emotional man who loves the sublime and the beautiful to an excessive degree. He loves to think of the beautiful, to enjoy the aesthetic side of nature and adore love and the God of love. He loves with his whole heart the great souls of all times, the prophets of religions, and the incarnations of God on earth. He does not care whether reason can or cannot prove that Christ or Buddha existed. He does not care for the exact date when the sermon or the mount was preached, or for the exact moment of Krishna's birth. What he cares for is their personalities, their lovable figures. Such is his ideal. Then is the nature of the lover, the emotional man. Then there is the mystic whose mind wants to analyze to its own self, to understand the workings of the human mind, what the forces are that are working inside, and how to know, manipulate, and obtain control over them. This is the mystical mind. Then there is the philosopher who wants to weigh everything and use his intellect even beyond the possibilities of all human philosophy.